getting ready for game number 1 of this best-of-3 series between Milford and Leominster. And before we do get to pitch number 1, we first want to close out our pregame show with our game time temperature for this evening's game. And right now here in the city of Milford, Massachusetts, it is 78 degrees. It is very humid here at the field. Again, a thick, heavy cloud cover overhead. The lights are on. No sunshine peeking through here as we are just about to the hour of 7 p.m. So far we have been fortunate here in Milford again to not have any precipitation. I know that is not the case elsewhere in the state, but we are very hopeful that things remain dry here at the field for the next couple of hours to get this game in. There's about a 50 to 60% chance of rain according to the weather forecasts for the next couple of hours here in Milford, but we hope that, again, no rain gets in the way of this game. Two high-quality teams taking the field here tonight in Milford and Leominster, and right now Dan Avery is out there on the pitcher's mound. He is completing his warm-up tosses. Milford in their customary home gold jerseys with navy lettering, and Leominster out there tonight in their blue jerseys with orange trim and lettering. And right now Brett Corliss, the leadoff hitter for Post 151, is about to step in to the right side batter's box. Avery ready to go, the first pitch on the way, and it is in for a called strike one, and playoff baseball is officially underway here at Pheno Field. Avery already set to go with his 0-1 pitch. This is grounded down the third base line, but foul. Again, it was a split between these two teams in the regular season. Leominster winning on their home field, Milford holding serve here at Pheno. Here's an 0-2 pitch, and it misses outside. Corliss wouldn't chase, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. We have just gotten word that the other semifinal game going on tonight with Grafton Hill taking on Wachusett has been postponed, as now Corliss hits this ball out to right center field. Getting a late break on it was Matt DeCina, but he recovers to make the catch, and there is 1 out here in the top of the first inning. So again, the game between Grafton Hill and Wachusett. Grafton Hill, the number 2 seed, Wachusett, the number 3. That game tonight has been postponed. It will now take place tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. at Tivnan Field, with their game 2 scheduled for Thursday at 5:30 over at Wachusett Regional High School. So only one of the games going on now tonight in this semifinal round, and that is here tonight, so we will not have any score updates to bring you. In the meantime, it's an 0-1 count to Tanner Giacola, the first baseman, and you can make it now 0-2 as he sends back-to-back pitches foul off to the left. Giacola, the starting pitcher when these two teams met last, only went 2 innings in that outing. He allowed a total of 6 runs, 5 of them were earned. Also allowed 6 hits. He walked 2 and only struck out 1 today, playing first base for Leominster. He's up there with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the next pitch from Avery. That one misses outside. Two balls and 2 strikes with 1 out and the base is empty. Avery into his windup. Here is the pitch, and it dips in a little too low, maybe a bit inside, and the count now runs full. Giacola up now. Ryan Lever, the shortstop, waits on deck. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and it's fought off foul again off to the right. Milford's defense looks like this evening. Michael Ryan behind the plate with Andrew McMillan at third, Dan Mantoni at short, Joe White at second, and Kevin Martinez at first. Left to right in the outfield, it is Matt DeCina, Kevin Lynch, and Cam Cosette. The next 3-2 pitch is hit on the ground to the right side, gobbled up at second base by Joe White. He throws to first, and there are 2 outs now here in the top of the first inning. And now here is Ryan Lever, the shortstop. He hit out of the leadoff spot when these two teams met at Pheno Field back on June 23rd. Ended up going 2 for 3 in the game. The first pitch of this at bat coming up from Dan Avery, and it misses just a bit inside for ball 1. There are are 2 outs now in this top of the first inning. The bases are clear. And now a count of 1 ball and 1 strike on the batter, Ryan Lever. Dan Avery, as usual, a very quick worker out there on the mound. The 1-1 pitch has popped up off to the right and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs in the inning. Avery, a little bit of a longer look in, and now timeout is granted at home plate. Back into the box now goes Lever. The next pitch on the way from Avery is hit on the ground foul wide of third base. Dan Avery coming into this game this evening. This is now his 8th start of the season. He comes in with a 5-1 record. Here's his 1-2 pitch. It's again fought off foul. So Leominster has done a good job fouling off some pitches, making Avery work a bit here in the first inning. Dan Avery carries a .90 ERA into the game today. He has 4 complete games on the season, 2 shutouts. As again, Lever fouls it away, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Avery with 39 1/3 innings pitched in the regular season. He allowed 23 hits, 9 runs, only 5 of them earned. He only walked 3 and struck out 34 batters. As this ball is popped up foul off to the left, giving chase was the catcher, Michael Ryan. He went as far as he could go, but that one was over the fence and out of play. And Ryan Lever will see yet another pitch. He has been down in the count, but he has done an excellent job here making Dan Avery work. He's fouled off a number of pitches, trying to find one that he can handle and extend this top of the first inning. Here comes another 1-2 pitch, and this one dips in too low, and the count evens at 2-2. Dan Avery and Michael Ryan trying to find just the right combination of pitches, as now another one misses, this time down in the dirt. And now the count has run full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs, and the base is empty. Avery and Lever locked in a good battle. Here comes the payoff pitch now, and it's hit hard through the left side out into left field for a 2-out base hit. And you kind of had the feeling that that was going to happen sooner or later. Lever fouling off a lot of the pitches in Avery's arsenal. He finally wore him down enough to get a pitch that he could hit hard through the left side of the infield between Andrew McMillan and Dan Mantoni, and the inning now will continue as Ricky Christian, the right fielder, settles into the batter's box. Lever takes a short lead off of first base. Here's the first pitch in now to Christian, and it misses outside for a ball. Now a quick pickoff check over at first base. It caught Lever a bit by surprise, but he was only a step or 2 away from the bag. He was able to lunge back in. The 1-0 pitch now. This is hit in the air, foul off to the left. Of course, there is no Red Sox baseball going on tonight, as we are in the midst of the All-Star break, and as a matter of fact, the 85th All-Star game taking place just a little bit later on this evening. I would not expect that game to get underway until somewhere in the neighborhood of 8:30. Here's a 1-1 pitch. It's in for a called strike. 1-2 the count to the left-handed hitting Ricky Christian. He digs back in tight on that batter's box. Here is the 1-2 pitch. It's hit in the air, out to shallow left field. Out goes Andrew McMillan, now Dan Mantoni, and it's Mantoni who makes the catch just in front of Matt DeCina, who was also charging in. But Mantoni makes the catch that ends the inning. Leominster strands a base runner in the top of the first inning. We head on to the bottom of the first now. Milford will take their first swings of the game when we return in a scoreless tie between Milford and Leominster here on First Class Radio. Leominster was able to get a 2-out base hit in the top half of this first inning, but could not score. And now it is Milford's turn to finally take their first at-bats of these 2014 Zone 4 playoffs. as we are here in game number 1 of this semi-final matchup between Milford and Leominster. Again, if you're just tuning in, the other half of this semi-final, Grafton Hill against Wachusett, that game 1 has been postponed. The weather a little bit worse out in the Worcester area. Meanwhile, Matt DeCina settles into the batter's box, and pitch number 1 from Darius Flowers, the starter for Leominster, is in for a called strike 1. Matt DeCina, a superb regular season, really in all phases of the game. DeCina on the regular season hit .375. He sends this 1-1 pitch in the air out to shallow center field. On comes Brett Corliss to make the catch, and DeCina is retired for out number 1. And speaking of hot hitting in the regular season, it didn't get much better than Andrew McMillan, who led the team in batting average wire to wire. It ended up at a .468 mark by the end of the regular season schedule, as McMillan takes ball 1, the first pitch of this at bat. McMillan with 29 hits in 62 regular season at bats. He had 4 doubles, 2 triples, and 13 runs batted in. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Of course, we remember last year, Andrew McMillan saved his best offense for the postseason, particularly in the state sectional play, which of course does not exist anymore. And meanwhile, it's a 4-pitch walk for Andrew McMillan here to start things off in his first at-bat of the playoffs in 2014. So McMillan down to first base, the first base runner of the day for Milford, and now up comes Dan Mantoni. Dan Mantoni in the playoffs last year hit .375. As now a pickoff throw to first base gets away from the first baseman Jacola. And down to second base goes Andrew McMillan, and that is something we see very frequently with Andrew McMillan on the bases. He is someone who draws a great deal of attention, and sometimes that can happen, so it's an error on the pitcher that allows McMillan to get down into scoring position. The first pitch of the at-bat to Mantoni now is too far inside. It's a 1-ball, no strike count. The chatter starting to ramp up coming out of the post 59 dugout. And now the catcher for Leominster, Ben Doyle, will head out for a quick chat with his pitcher. Defensively for Leominster tonight, it is Ben Doyle behind the plate, with Mark Poirier at third, Ryan Lever at short, Jeremy Nash at second, and Tanner Jacola at first. Left to right in the outfield, Noah Milliard, Brett Corliss, and Ricky Christian. All in support of their starter, Darius Flowers. He sends a 1-0 pitch into Dan Mantoni that is socked out to deep left field, but it's going to hit just foul. That was almost all the way into the corner on a line, but it touched down maybe a foot or two in foul territory, and Mantoni will have to head back to home plate. He has a big smile on his face as he looks over to his teammates in the clubhouse. He absolutely crushed that ball, nearly hitting that 396-foot marker out in the left field corner on a line. But the ball goes foul, and now the count 1-1. Andrew McMillan with a big lead off of second. Flowers with a 1-1 pitch now, a breaking ball that misses. And the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Kevin Martinez, the first baseman, waiting to take his first playoff at bat in the on-deck circle. Flowers, a quick look down to second, now comes home. This one is hit up the middle, a slow roller fielded at shortstop by Ryan Lever. A quick throw to first gets Mantoni, but on to third in the process goes McMillan with now 2 outs. At first it looked like that might make its way through into center, but a nice job by Ryan Lever, the shortstop, to make up the ground. Mantoni retired 6-3. And now here is Kevin Martinez batting with a runner at third and 2 outs. And he takes the first pitch, a borderline strike on the outside edge. That was a generous call by the home plate umpire. Flowers' next pitch, this one is popped up. Back behind home plate, it will make its way over the backstop and ricochet in the stands. And Kevin Martinez is now down in the count, 0-2. Hitting with men in scoring position was an area that Milford struggled mightily in the first matchup against Leominster this season back on opening day. Here is the 0-2 pitch, and it's a breaking ball that makes its way back over the plate for a called strike 3. A nice sequence there by Darius Flowers. He gets Martinez on 3 pitches, and that will end the inning. So each team strands a man on in the first inning. We're through with 1 inning of play now in this semifinal matchup, and it is scoreless as we bring you playoff coverage here on WMRC First Class Radio. WMRC First Class Radio bringing you playoff coverage here between Milford Post 59 and Leominster Post 151. A scoreless first inning. Now Dan Avery back out on the mound for his second inning of work. He deals a called strike now into Brennan Cudahy, the designated hitter for Post 151. Cudahy now swings away at this one, sends a high drive out to left field, but not particularly deep. In comes Matt DeCina to make the catch. Dan Mantoni in a full sprint out there to try to make the over-the-shoulder catch, but DeCina calls him off. Mantoni has been not shy about making his way into the outfield to try to make plays so far in these first 2 innings. So Cudahy is retired on the pop out. And now here is Mark Poirier, the third baseman. He takes the first pitch strike from Dan Avery. I'd like to welcome all of you viewing this game on Milford TV. Happy to have Milford TV once again on hand for coverage. WMRC bringing you live coverage. This game should be out available for viewing on Milford TV shortly. The 1-2 pitch now is hit hard on the left side and through past the dive of Andrew McMillan out into left field. That one smoked off the bat of Poirier out into left field. A nice attempt by Andrew McMillan going into the quick dive. That's the second hit allowed by Dan Avery in the game. Sends up Noah Milliard, the left fielder. Left-handed bat settling in to face Avery, who will now pitch from the stretch. And the first pitch is in for a called strike. Nothing in 1 the count with 1 away and a runner on first base, and now that pitch misses just off the outside corner. So far in these first 2 innings, the home plate umpire with a little bit more of a generous call on the right side of the plate than the left. 2 balls and 1 strike now the count. Avery now with a quick pickoff throw over at first, and Poirier is able to get back. A very big crowd on hand here at Pheno Field as we see a 2-1 pitch. It's hit on the ground to second. Joe White flips to second base out there. The throw to first, and it is an inning-ending 4-6-3 double play turned very nicely up the middle by Joe White, and Dan Mantoni finished off at first base. And that is it for Leominster here in the top of the second inning. Through 1.5 now from Pheno Field, still scoreless, as we bring you coverage of this semifinal round of the Zone 4 playoffs right here on WMRC First Class Radio. A nice double play turned by Post 59 to bring a quick end to the top of the second inning. Now it is batters 5, 6, and 7 coming up for Milford here in the home half of the second. And a first pitch strike delivered into Joe White, courtesy of Leominster's Darius Flowers. Now jumps ahead in the count, 0-2. Flowers allowing a 1-out walk last inning, but that's all. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It drops in a little bit low. We did not see Darius Flowers pitch in either of the 2 regular season games between these 2 teams, as the count now goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. It was Kyle Cutler who was able to pitch a complete game against Milford back on opening day, and of course, as we mentioned, Tanner Giacola, Ricky Christian, and Dios Marinoso were the trio who pitched in game number 2, as now Joe White hits a slow rolling ground ball to second base. His counterpart Jeremy Nash able to pick it up and throw to first for the first out here in the bottom of the second. 1 down, and now here is Michael Ryan. Ryan, who had one of the big hits against Leominster in the regular season. We played it for you during our pregame show, a 3-run triple in the first inning of that game to give Milford an early lead. A pitch from Flowers misses outside. Ryan batting with 1 out and the base is empty. Here is the 2-0 pitch now. A half swing from Ryan, but he sends it foul off to the left out of play. 2 balls and 1 strike now the count. Again, as we mentioned, our friends from Milford TV here in attendance this evening. They have been here for a number of games this year, making the games available for viewing on their Milford TV channels, both Comcast and Verizon subscribers. As Michael Ryan sends this pitch in the air out to shallow right field. The catch is made there by Ricky Christian, and there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning. We also recap every week's action for Milford Post 59 on Milford TV on the Milford Informer, which airs on Friday evenings at 7:30. We also bring you news headlines and stories and events from throughout the Milford community, as well as sports, so we certainly invite you to check that out, as now Cam Cosette dumps this pitch out into shallow right field for a 2-out base hit. Just a defensive swing from Cam Cosette, but it was enough to lift it over the head of the second baseman and out into shallow right, so that will keep the inning alive. That's the first hit of the game for Milford. Cosette aboard with the 2-out single, and that will give a chance to Mike Caffarella, who had his number called for the DH spot in tonight's lineup. Caffarella, a left-handed batter. Saw sporadic action in the regular season, as the first pitch misses low for ball 1. Strikeouts were a problem for Mike Caffarella in the regular season. The 1-0 pitch, that one hugs the outside corner and evens the count at 1-1. Caffarella hit 174 in 10 games in the regular season, ended up going 4 for 23 in those games. He did have 4 runs batted in, though. Walked 3 times, but struck out 11 times. He lifts a pitch out to shallow left field. Now in foul ground, twisting around is the third baseman, Poirier. Did he make the catch? And it looks like he did indeed. A little bit of indecision there on the call from the umpire, as he was initially just ruling that a foul ball. I never did see an out call given, but now Milford coming off the field, as is Leominster, so that will bring an end to this bottom of the second inning. The catch made in foul ground by Poirier, the third baseman, ends it. And after 2 full innings of play, we remain scoreless here at Fino Field between Milford and Leominster. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio. Dan Avery quick to warm up in between innings now, already 3 pitches deep in this at bat against the catcher Ben Doyle, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Avery starting his 3rd inning of work as now this one is lifted in the air out to shallow right field. That'll get down for a base hit. Not hit all that high, but just enough to get up over Joe White's glove. Well placed for Ben Doyle, and that's already the 3rd hit of the game for Leominster. They have their leadoff man aboard here in the top of the 3rd, and now here's the number 9 man, Jeremy Nash, who immediately bunts this ball down the first base line. Michael Ryan touching it in fair ground as he tried to wait for it to trickle foul and then swat it away. He may have lost his balance. So everyone's going to be safe here as Coach DeVito comes out to argue. Ryan was following that ball down the first base line. It started to roll foul, then started to head back into fair territory. Ryan ended up sliding knee first towards the ball to swat it away, but he touched it while it was still in fair ground, so it will go as a bunt single for Jeremy Nash, and now 2 men are on with nobody out. Back up to the top of the lineup, and Brett Corliss, who looks at a called strike 1. So a little bit of a mental error for Michael Ryan there. That's certainly a rarity, a very calm, confident catcher behind the plate, Michael Ryan. So Brett Corliss now getting his 2nd at bat of the game. He popped out to center field back in the 1st. Now he turns to bunt. He pops it up, but so hard it will make its way over the backstop and out of play. 0-2 now the count. Leominster looking to try to get a couple of men into scoring position here in the 3rd inning against Avery. That's now 4 hits allowed by Avery in the game. This one is lined down the right field line, excuse me. This is big trouble. Heading down into the corner, around to score is Ben Doyle. They will stop Nash at 3rd. It's an RBI double by Brett Corliss, and Leominster takes the first lead in this game, up now 1-0. That was a hard shot that got just past the glove of Kevin Martinez. If he had been playing a little more towards the line, he may have had a chance to make a catch on that ball. Instead, it got past him, rolled down the right field line. And the first run of this playoff game belongs to Leominster as they lead 1-0, but more importantly than that, they have 2 men in scoring position with still nobody out in this inning. Jeremy Nash now at 3rd with Corliss at 2nd. An 0-1 pitch coming in now to Tanner Jacola, and misses low. And the count now even at 1-1. We haven't seen quite the lights out stuff from Dan Avery that we saw for much of the regular season, as now this ball is hit out to shallow left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. In to score from 3rd base is Nash. They stop Corliss at 3rd base. It is an RBI single for Tanner Jacola, and Leominster now takes a 2-0 lead. So things developing very quickly here for Post 151. Their first 4 men have reached here in the top of the 3rd against Avery. 2 have come around to score. They now have runners at the corners with 1 out, and here's a line drive out to left field, but in to make the catch is Matt DeCina, tagging at 3rd base, and coming to the plate now is Corliss, and he will score as the throw pulled Michael Ryan in front of home plate, and sliding in with the 3rd run of the inning was Brett Corliss. So you can credit Ryan Lever with a sacrifice fly. 3-0 now the score. The lone runner aboard now for Leominster is Tanner Jacola at 1st base. Now first pitch swinging Ricky Christian sends a pop-up out behind 2nd base. It's Dan Mantoni who makes the catch. And now there are 2 outs in the inning. Leominster has not been waiting around at all against Dan Avery in this inning. A lot of first pitch swinging, and it's worked to their favor. 3 runs home, 2 outs now in the inning. A runner at 1st base for Cudahy, who swings at the first pitch. He pops it foul and out of play. Brennan Cudahy, the DH, he popped out to left field in his first at bat. Leominster feeling like they've discovered something about Dan Avery in this inning. Avery now able to deliver a called strike 2 in, so 1 strike away from ending this inning right here. The 0-2 pitch misses just outside. Cudahy was tempted, but he held up the swing, and the count goes to 1-2. Milford fans a little bit shocked at this quick rally for Leominster. Here's a 1-2 pitch. It's lined up over the jump of Dan Mantoni at shortstop. It's a base hit for Cudahy up to second base, and stopping there is Jacola. Very unusual here to see so many hard hit balls against Dan Avery, and this will prompt a visit from Coach DeVito. It all started with the single by the catcher Ben Doyle, then that bunt attempt by Jeremy Nash that was touched in fair territory by Michael Ryan. That was certainly a bad omen in this inning, as the next batter, Brett Corliss, laced a double down the right field line to bring 1 run home, and an RBI single by Tanner Jacola, a sacrifice fly by Ryan Lever. And that has produced 3 runs to this point in the inning for Post 151. They now have runners at first and second base. The 8th man in the Leominster lineup will come to the plate now in this inning in Mark Poirier. Three runs on 6 hits now in the game for Leominster. Poirier has one of those hits. He grabbed a 1-out single last inning. Starts off ahead in the count, 1-0. The Leominster bench lively now as this ball is hit up the middle. That gets past the dive of Mantoni out into shallow center. They will wave Jacola to the plate. Here comes the throw. It's not going to be in time. Jacola comes around to score the 4th Leominster run of the inning. It's an RBI single for Mark Poirier. 4-0 now, the lead in what has just been a shocking development here in the top of the 3rd inning. Dan Avery coming into this game had only allowed a total of 5 earned runs on the entire season. He's allowed 4 earned runs here in the 3rd inning of this game alone. As now first pitch swinging, Noah Milliard sends a pitch foul and out of play off to the left. So Leominster has now batted around in this 3rd inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's in for a called strike 2. Milliard grounded into the double play that ended last inning. Avery comes to the set. Here is the pitch. It's chopped over to the right side. Played by Joe White, but it's bobbled in and out of the glove, and everyone is going to be safe. Joe White taking his eye off the baseball. And everyone is going to reach here. It looked like a ground ball out to finally end this inning, but not the case. Milford commits their first error of the game. And that will load the bases now with 2 outs. And the man who started this inning, Ben Doyle, now back up for the 2nd time. The 1-0 pitch now is swung on and missed. A big cut there by Ben Doyle. Singled and scored a run in this inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's popped up foul over the backstop and out of play. There is no action in the Milford bullpen, but this has been a very taxing inning for Dan Avery, the likes of which we have not seen in this 2014 season. Here's a 1-2 pitch. It's hit in the air out to right field. On comes Cam Cosette. He makes the catch. And finally, this inning comes to an end, but Leominster sends 10 men to the plate in the top of the 3rd inning. They score 4 times, and as a result, Leominster now leads this game over Milford by a score of 4-0. Stay tuned to coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on First Class Radio. Dan Avery, the sturdy and reliable ace for Post 59, having a very tough go of it in the top of the 3rd inning. He allowed 4 runs on 6 hits in the inning. Leominster now leads this game 4-0. They have a total of 8 hits now in the game. So Milford will need to come from behind to grab a victory here in this first game of the best of 3 series.
I went for the scoop on Brett.
Leominster's offense really hitting their stride in their final game of their quarterfinal matchup with Maine South. They scored 13 runs in that game. They ended up winning in mercy rule fashion in that deciding game against Maine South, winning it in 6 innings and rolling over that offensive momentum here tonight. Leading 4-0. Darius Flowers now with a good lead to work with as Kevin Lynch sends this pitch out to shallow center field. That drops down for a leadoff single. So Milford hoping the comeback starts here in the bottom half of the third. They have the leadoff man on and now back up to the top of the order, and Matt Tessina, who popped out to center field his first time up. Crowd here at Fino Field, unusually quiet for a playoff game, as now Matt Tessina drops a bunt down towards third base. The throw over to first from the pitcher is not in time. It pulls Tanner Giacola off the bag. He tried to sweep the tag as Tessina went by, but could not make contact. And so Milford trying to start off their rally the same way that Leominster did in the top half of this inning. They've gotten a single and now a bunt single and have runners at first and second, with now Andrew McMillan coming to the plate. Tessina was certainly bunting for a hit all the way there. As now the first pitch into Andrew McMillan misses outside for ball 1. Everyone standing in the Milford dugout as now Ben Doyle, the Leominster catcher, heads out to try to slow things up a bit with his pitcher, who has allowed the first 2 men to reach here. Leominster hoping for a shutdown inning after grabbing the 4-0 lead, but allowing Milford to get a couple of base runners here. Kevin Lynch now leads off of second. Tessina off of first. Excellent speed on the bases. As the pitch into McMillan misses away again, now 2-0 the count. You have to imagine that Coach DeVito typically gives these 2 runners the green light to go if they see an opportunity. They each have large leads. Here's the 2-0 now to McMillan. It misses again. 3 balls and no strikes the count. So Flowers 1 pitch away from walking the bases loaded and giving Milford an opportunity immediately to bring the tying run to the plate. Here is the 3-0 pitch. Turning to bunt was McMillan. He pulls the bat back and takes a called strike 1. Again, the runners take their leads, neither being held on. Flowers with the 3-1 pitch. This is hit out to center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. They will wave Kevin Lynch to the plate. He will score without a throw. The throw instead comes into second base. It is an RBI single for Andrew McMillan, and now Milford is on the scoreboard. It is now a 4-1 game. So the fans starting to settle in for what might be a big offensive night. Milford now with 3 straight hits to start their half of this third inning. It has produced 1 run. They now have the tying run at the plate in Dan Mantoni. Here's the first pitch, and it's in for strike 1. Dan grounded out to shortstop his first time up. The crowd now immediately springing back to life, starting to feel this rally. Darius Flowers spins around behind the mound to look Matt Tessina back to the bag. 0-1 the count to Mantoni. With runners at first and second, here is the pitch too far inside. Mantoni had to back up out of the way. 1-1 now the count. Dan Mantoni, aside from pitching a complete game shutout the last time these teams met, also had a couple of hits and 3 runs batted in Darius Flowers starting to become preoccupied with Matt Decina down at second base. Continues to look in that direction, now fires his 1-1 pitch. This is hit in the air out to left field, ranging in is Milliard. But that will drop in between. Now the center fielder and left fielder collide. Both are still down as Decina comes around to score the second Milford run. But Corliss seemed to get the worst end of the collision. Now both players come to their feet. That was just a high pop-up out to shallow left field. The shortstop, left fielder, and center fielder all converged. The ball dropped between them, and then Milliard, the left fielder, and Corliss, the center fielder, collided. Corliss stayed down for a few moments after the play, but it looks like everyone is all right. The coaches came out for a quick check, and now we'll head back to the dugout. Coach DeVito also came out to try to lend a hand. But everyone seems to be okay. It goes as an RBI single for Dan Mantoni. Decina comes around to score from second base. It's now a 4-2 game. McMillan now at second base with Mantoni at first, and now here is Kevin Martinez. Martinez takes the first pitch outside for ball one. Quite a bizarre play out there in shallow left. I'm happy to see no one sustained any injuries. Martinez struck out with a runner on third base in the first inning, now sends a line drive out to the gap in left center field. That's going to roll deep out there in the outfield. Coming around to score easily is Andrew McMillan. They will wave Dan Mantoni to the plate. Here comes the throw, the slide, he's safe, and the game is tied at 4-4. The throw was right on the money into home plate, but Dan Mantoni with a terrific slide around the tag. He comes around to score. Kevin Martinez with an RBI double, and just like that, Milford erases the deficit, and this game is knotted up 4 apiece. Now it is the Leominster coaching staff who will go out for a visit on the pitcher's mound.
Now batting number 14, Joe White.
Plenty of drama in the early innings of this game. Martinez all over that pitch out to deep left center field. Drives in 2 runs, and what just moments ago was a 4-0 deficit for Milford now is a tied ball game. 5 straight hits to start this inning, as now Joe White comes to the plate and he takes the first pitch for a called strike. Darius Flowers trying to regain his composure as his 0-1 pitch is hit foul down the first base line. Joe White did not have a run batted in the completion of the Framingham game last Wednesday. That broke a streak of 6 consecutive games with a run batted in. The 0-2 pitch is hit through the hole on the right side of the infield. A base hit for White here. They will hold Kevin Martinez at third base. He took a wide turn around third, but Coach DeVito had the stop sign held up the whole way.
Now batting number 8, Mike Ryan.
You can make it now 6 straight hits for Milford in this inning. Singles by Lynch, Decina, McMillan, Mantoni, and White, with the double by Kevin Martinez mixed in there. A single by Decina was a bunt single. We're tied at 4. Milford has runners at the corners with now Michael Ryan, the left-handed batter, at the plate. The pitch from Flowers misses outside for ball 1. Not the pitcher's duel you may have anticipated. But certainly a lot of excitement for these fans here at Pheno Field. Here is the 1-0 pitch into Ryan. It misses again. 2-0 now the count. Looks like in between innings, Alex Croteau was loosening in the bullpen for Post 59, starting to get himself ready if Dan Avery continues to struggle. 3-0 the count now to Michael Ryan. Here's the pitch. Ryan takes all the way. He takes a called strike at the knees. Flowers has one walk so far on the night. The 3-1 is hit hard towards the right side. A diving grab made there by Jeremy Nash at second base. He flips to second with the shortstop covering, and they are able to get Joe White. So Jeremy Nash rolling the dice there. He had to go into a dive towards the first base bag to grab that ball, but made the quick release towards second base to get the middle runner. Meanwhile, in the back door from third base to score was Kevin Martinez. So Milford coming all the way back to now take the 5-4 lead. Incredible scoring here in this third inning. 5-4 now the score. Joe White the erase from the base paths. Now it's Michael Ryan, the runner at first. Michael Ryan credited with a run batted in on that fielder's choice. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count now to Cam Cosette, who is 1 for 1 on the evening. He pops this pitch up behind second base, just a step onto the outfield grass. It's Jeremy Nash who makes a much easier play this time. And there are 2 outs here now in the bottom of the third inning. Michael Ryan remains at first base. And now here is Mike Caffarella, who popped up in foul ground to third base, and Mark Poirier was able to make a diving catch, just keeping that ball off the turf. As now Caffarella swings at the first pitch here, he pops it up to the right side of the infield. Ranging over again is Jeremy Nash. He makes the catch. And that will end this bottom of the third inning. Well, what an eventful third inning it was. 4 runs in the top half for Leominster. Milford answers back with 5 runs of their own, and now after 3 complete innings, it is a 5-4 lead for Post 59. It is semifinal action here in the Zone 4 playoffs, right here on First Class Radio. 5 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error for Milford Post 59. 4 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for Leominster Post 151. The bulk of that offensive damage being done in that third inning. As now a revitalized Dan Avery comes back to the mound. He allowed 4 runs in that inning, but watched from the dugout as his offense picked him up with 5 runs in the bottom half of the inning to tip the scoreboard in Milford's favor. Here's an 0-1 pitch now to Jeremy Nash, who was active defensively to bring an end to that Milford rally in the last half inning. Now down in the count, 0-2, now sends a fly ball out to center field. Kevin Lynch settling underneath. He makes the catch, and the leadoff man is retired here in the top of the 4th. Each team with 6 hits in that third inning. Total of 12 hits and 9 runs scored. As now first pitch swinging Brett Corliss lines one foul down the right field line. Corliss with a double as part of the rally last inning for Leominster, an RBI double. Here's the 0-1 pitch. This is hit softly back up the middle, fielded with the bare hand by Dan Mantoni. He throws all in one motion to get the out over at first base. A nifty play by the Milford shortstop. He ranged into that infield grass, fielded with his throwing hand, and then sent a nice accurate throw over to Kevin Martinez at first. 2 up and 2 down, as now it is Avery who looks for the shutdown inning. He has the first 2 outs, as now Tanner Jacola sends a line drive foul ball down the left field line. Leominster continues their aggressive approach against Dan Avery. Now this pitch is hit in the air, out to shallow left field. On comes Matt Decina, but he cannot make the catch. He was there. It grazed the fingertips of the glove. Dropped out there in shallow left. That will allow Jacola to reach. That should go as an error for Decina. He was there. The catch should have been made. Rarely see a miscue from Decina, particularly when he plays the outfield. Now Ryan Lever swings at the first pitch. He hits it in foul territory down the right field line. A nice effort by Kevin Martinez, who plowed his way all the way into the crowd out there, the spectators who are beyond the field of play, out in right, but no chance to make a catch. It's just a long strike to Lever, who is officially 1 for 1 on the day. He singled back in the first inning, hit a sacrifice fly last inning. And you can see a little bit of gamesmanship going on with Leominster in their approach at the plate, trying to call a lot of timeouts just before Avery is ready to throw. And now Avery perhaps with a little bit of gamesmanship of his own as he waits for Lever to step back into the batter's box and then steps off the pitching rubber to do some maintenance work around the mound. Now both are ready to go, and the pitch is in there for a called strike 2. A situation like that, you can't help but be reminded of some of those classic showdowns between Pedro Martinez and Bernie Williams back in the late 90s, early 2000s, as now Lever just reaches out and pokes this pitch out into center field, so Lever wins the battle as that will drop down for a single. So it could have been a 1-2-3 inning, but the error by Matt Decina allowed Jacola to reach. He now moves up to second on the single by Ryan Lever. 2 on with 2 outs now, and here comes Ricky Christian. Christian takes a pitch outside for a ball. Again, we did see Alex Croteau warming up in the bottom half of last inning. As now Avery misses away again, the count goes to 2-0. Christian, one of just 2 members of this Leominster lineup who do not have a hit. He sends this pitch out to right field. The catch is made there by Cam Cosette, and that will end the inning. Leominster able to get 2 men aboard with 2 outs, but they don't score. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It is a 5-4 lead for Milford here on WMRC First Class Radio. The man who led off last inning for Post 59 will lead things off here again in the bottom of the 4th. That is Kevin Lynch. Tried to hold up the swing on the first pitch from Darius Flowers, but the infield umpire said he went around. So 0-1 the count. Now this pitch in for a called strike 2. Late movement on the pitch from Flowers. Brought it back over the plate. Here is the 0-2 pitch now to Kevin Lynch. It misses away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Milford leading this game by a score of 5-4. Now this pitch up over the head of Lynch. That one slipping out of the hand of Darius Flowers. It remains a heavily overcast sky here in Milford, but still no precipitation as this 2-2 pitch is ripped back up the middle past the glove of the pitcher and out into center field for another leadoff single for Kevin Lynch. He is now 2 for 2. The sky is lightening just a little bit, however, off to the right. Lightning, not lightning. 2 very different things. We don't mind seeing those skies lighten up a bit to see some late sunshine here before it heads down for the evening. Kevin Lynch immediately takes off at first base. The pitch is well outside for a ball, and the throw from Ben Doyle is not close. So a runner at second base now for Milford. A 1-0 count to Matt Decina, who had a bunt single last inning. Just after 8 o'clock in the evening now. here at Pheno Field. The count now 2-0. Game one of a best-of-3 series here in the Zone 4 semifinal round between Milford and Leominster. Turning to bunt now is Matt Tessina. He pulls the bat back, takes another ball. Flowers was very sharp in the first 2 innings, but things fell apart last inning. He's now given up another leadoff single. He's gone to a 3-0 count to Tessina, and you can make it 4 straight out of the strike zone. His second walk of the game, and now out of the dugout comes the head coach for Leominster. It looks like we might see a pitching change here. Indeed, he takes the baseball from Darius Flowers, who is only able to go 3+ innings in this game. We will step aside here for the pitching change. We'll let you know who's on to throw for Post 151 when we return. Milford up 5-4. Pitching change taking place here at Pheno Field as Darius Flowers' day on the mound is done for Leominster. He was only able to go 3+ innings. He allowed 5 runs on 8 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 1. He remains responsible for the 2 runners aboard for Milford here, as now taking over on the mound is number 12, Greg Cavioli. The lanky left-hander about to deal with Andrew McMillan. He deals in a called strike 1. Kevin Lynch starting the inning with a single, then a 4-pitch walk to Matt Tessina. That drove the starter Flowers from the game. Milford with men at first and second and nobody out, leading this game 5-4. The 0-1 pitch loops outside and evens the count at 1-1. This is the only Zone 4 playoff game going on this evening, as Grafton Hill and Wachusett was postponed. They will play their game 1 tomorrow. Here's the 1-1 pitch into Andrew McMillan. He tried to hold up the swing. Yes, he did, says the infield ump. 2 balls and a strike now. The runners leading off of first and second for Milford here. Their regular season batting leader at the plate. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Misses outside, and the count goes to 3-1. This is the semifinal round of the Zone 4 playoffs. 2 teams will remain after this round to play for the Zone 4 championship. And that winner will then move on to a state tournament. As now they send a pickoff throw down to first base, or second base I should say, and Kevin Lynch is just able to get back in safely. He got caught a little bit far off the bag. But that is a further change in the playoff format this year, as there will be no state sectional playoff round. It will go right from the zone playoffs to a state final tournament. The count now full to Andrew McMillan, 3 balls and 2 strikes. As now the winner of that state tournament will then move on to the Northeast Regionals. And that means that there aren't a whole lot of opportunities to take in a game here at Pheno Field for the rest of this year. The 3-2 pitch misses low and away to Andrew McMillan, the 2nd straight walk. And that will load the bases here with nobody out. Tessina moves down to second, Lynch to third. And now here is Dan Mantoni, who got the scoring started for Milford last inning with an RBI single. Now a snap throw down to first base after the first one into Mantoni, and that's going to end up out in right field. Into score comes Kevin Lynch. They're going to wave home Matt Tessina. He will score as well. And Milford is able to take a 7-4 lead on a very costly error by the catcher, Ben Doyle. The first pitch into Mantoni, missing for a ball. Doyle decided to send a snap throw down to first base, but he airmailed it. It traveled all the way down the line out in right field. And that allows 2 unearned runs to come home to score. as both Lynch and DeCina crossed the plate. Moving up to second base was Andrew McMillan. So you can now close the book on Darius Flowers. He allows 7 runs in his outing, with those last 2 unearned. As now Mantoni hits this ball hard on the ground to first base. It's fielded by Jacola. He takes it to the bag himself. That's the first out now here in the bottom of the 4th. So we've seen errors from the pitcher and the catcher for Leominster so far in the game. 2 errors for Milford in the game as well, one by Matt DeCina and one by Joe White. So these teams possibly feeling some jitters here, as we haven't seen some of the best baseball that these 2 teams can offer. Some miscues in the field, some pitching issues. But Milford right now on the winning side of a 7-4 score. We're still in the bottom of the 4th inning, a lot of baseball left to go in this one as Kevin Martinez takes a big hack, but comes up empty. Martinez, who hit a 2-run double last inning to tie the score. Here's the next pitch. It's chopped down the third base line, but bounces foul. An hour and 10 minutes deep into this game. Again, still just 1 out deep into the bottom of the 4th inning. The fans enjoying plenty of offense on both sides. The 1-2 pitch into Kevin Martinez is fouled at the plate. Martinez 1 for 2 on the day. He also has a strikeout to go along with that 2-run double. Another 1-2 and a wave and a miss, and Martinez, goes down his 2nd strikeout. That's the first strikeout for Cavioli. 2 outs now here in the bottom of the 4th. Andrew McMillan, the lone Milford runner, he stands at third base now for Joe White. 0-1 now the count. White grounded out in the 2nd inning and singled as part of that big 3rd inning rally. The 0-1 pitch, this is hit on the ground foul wide of first base. 0-2 now the count. Michael Ryan hopes for a chance on deck. He takes his practice cuts with the shin guards on. The lefty Cavioli's next pitch. This is swung on and missed. It gets to the backstop, and that will allow Joe White to reach, and also in from third base to score comes Andrew McMillan with the 8th Milford run.
Now batting number 8, Mike Ryan.
So it ends up as the 2nd strikeout of the inning for Cavioli, but the pitch gets away from Ben Doyle. And that allows White to reach. It allows McMillan to come in from third, so that's now 3 runs scored thanks to miscues in this inning. You had the bad throw to first base from the catcher that allowed 2 runs to come in, and now a passed ball on a strike 3 allows another run to come home. So Leominster really helping Milford out and extending their lead. No RBI on that play for Joe White, as he is now at first base with Michael Ryan at the plate. Ryan chops one foul. Count goes to 0-2. Ryan drove in a run on a fielder's choice last inning. That was the run that gave Milford the lead. As they scored 5 times last inning, they've scored another 3 runs here in the fourth. As now, here's another swing and a miss. And again, the runner will reach as the ball gets away from the catcher. So the pitcher, Greg Cavioli, now with 3 strikeouts in the inning, and runners have reached on 2 of those strikeouts. We've seen a lot in this game that we do not typically see. So now that gives an opportunity for Cam Cosette with runners at first and second. Both of those runners reaching via a strikeout. So it has not been the best of innings for the Leominster catcher, Ben Doyle. 1-0 the count now to Cam Cosette, who is the 8th batter to come to the plate for Milford here in the 4th inning. Cavioli looks down to second base, now comes to the plate. The 1-0 pitch bounces in. And now the return throw from Doyle sent Cavioli lunging to be able to grasp it. 2-0 the count. Cosette now swings at this pitch, hits it on the ground towards shortstop, fielded by Lever. His throw to first base is in time for the out that ends the inning, but Milford, helped out by Leominster and some tough defensive plays, score 3 more runs, and as a result, they lead this game now by a score of 8-4 as we bring you playoff coverage for Milford Post 59 right here on First Class Radio. So Greg Cavioli comes on to pitch in relief for Leominster in that bottom of the 4th inning. He does not allow a hit. He strikes out 3 batters, but ends up getting charged with a run. This thanks to a throwing error and a couple of passed balls that Milford was able to grab 3 runs in the inning. 2 of those runs were charged to the starter Darius Flowers, 1 to the reliever Cavioli. And overall now in the game, they lead 8-4. Dan Avery with another wait, but he deals the first 2 in the strike zone to the DH Brennan Cudahy to jump ahead in the count, 0-2. Avery's next pitch, a check swing. Michael Ryan asks for the check down to the infield umpire, but the infield ump says no swing. 1 ball and 2 strikes now the count. Avery winds and fires. This time too far outside, and the count evens at 2-2. Cudahy tonight has popped out to left field and singled. Here's the 2-2. That one inside and low, and now the count runs full. Again, just not quite the pinpoint accuracy that we have seen displayed by Dan Avery throughout this 2014 season. Now the 3-2 pitch misses inside, and after starting off ahead in the count, 0-2, Avery ends up walking the leadoff batter. That is his first walk of the game. And another sign that Avery is not quite comfortable out there tonight. He does not have a strikeout. And we do sometimes see 2 sides to Dan Avery, the strikeout pitcher and the pitch to contact pitcher, but I do not believe that it has been intended to get these to pitch to contact here tonight. Meanwhile, just an incredible play going on there by Dan Mantoni. Left me speechless momentarily as it was a line drive out to shortstop. Mantoni leaps, nearly made the catch in a snow cone style. The ball ended up dropping behind him, but he was still able to shuffle the ball to second base to get the out there, and the return throw to first base was in time to complete the double play. So whereas he nearly had 1 out, then dropped the ball, he ended up managing to turn the double play. And in a game that has had some bizarre twists and turns, that might have been the most unlikely play we've seen so far tonight. As now Dan Avery hits Noah Milliard, he will head down to first base. So was a leadoff walk to Cudahy. Then Mark Poirier hit a scalding line drive rising out to shortstop. Mantoni just unable to make the catch. Not sure if Poirier maybe had stopped running when he saw the ball initially in Mantoni's glove. And a combination of the slow-running Cudahy heading towards second base and Poirier's perhaps lack of hustle down the first base line allowed Mantoni to end up turning that 6-4-3 double play. But now the hit by pitch to Noah Milliard keeps the inning going. Milliard now at first base with 2 outs, and Ben Doyle coming to the plate. Doyle looking to atone for those miscues last inning, a couple of passed balls and a very costly throwing error to first base. 8-4 the score, Milford with the lead. And now another pickoff throw to first base. This one glances out of the glove of Kevin Martinez, but does not travel far enough for Milliard to try to advance. And if this is setting the stage for the kind of action we're going to see in these playoffs, it is going to be quite a ride. Here's the next pitch from Avery. It's chopped down the third base line, but foul. Count now goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs in this inning. Milliard, the lone Leominster runner at first base. The 1-1 pitch into Doyle misses too far inside. Milford finishing the regular season at 17-7. Clinching a share of the Zone 4 title. There's a called strike 2 in from Avery to bring the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the 2-2 hit high in the air out to left field. Matt DeCina, though, only a step or two to his right, is able to make the catch, and that will end the inning. So a rather unusual double play highlights that inning defensively for Milford. And we are now heading on to the bottom of the 5th inning with Milford up on Leominster by a score of 8-4 here on WMRC First Class Radio. Eight to 4 the score here at Pheno Field as we enter the bottom half of the 5th inning. And it looks like we will see a pinch hitter here as Scott DeCapua steps up to the batter's box to take the place of Mike Caffarella, who was 0 for 2 out of this number 8 spot in the Milford lineup. That pitch misses to DeCapua, so he gets his first taste of playoff action here this season. Now lifts this pitch high in the air out to center field. Backpedaling is Brett Corliss. He makes the catch, and DeCapua is retired. Leominster able to retire the leadoff man for the first time since back in the 2nd inning. It's been a couple of long innings for this Leominster pitching staff. 9 men came to the plate in the bottom of the 3rd for Milford. 8 men came to the plate in the bottom of the 4th. But 1 out here now in the bottom of the 5th, and now the number 9 hitter Kevin Lynch, who did a good job getting each of those rallies started. He is 2 for 2 on the night. He has singled twice and scored 2 runs. An ugly swing and a miss right there to fall behind in the count. Lynch up now, Matt DeCina to follow. Feels like there might be a light mist falling now out on the field, as now Lynch tries to go opposite field with a shallow fly ball, but sliding in to make the catch was Ricky Christian. Came in at full speed, went into the knee slide, and was able to just keep that one up off the grass.
Now batting, number 9, Matt DeCina.
2 up and 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th, and that leaves it up to DeCina. DeCina has popped out, reached on a bunt single, and also walked. He has 2 runs scored. Takes the first pitch for a called strike from Greg Cavioli, now into his second inning of relief. And now a borderline strike call on the outside edge brings the count to 0-2. We have not seen a 1-2-3 inning on either side so far tonight. The 0-2 pitch, this is hit on a line to first base. The catch made there by Tanner Giacola, so we do now see our first 1-2-3 inning of the night as Milford goes quickly here in the bottom of the fifth. We've played 5 full now from Fino Field in this game, number 1 of the Zone 4 semifinals between Milford and Leominster, and it is Post 59 with the 8-4 lead here on WMRC First Class Radio. Well, this game has now become officially a battle of the bullpens, as Dan Avery's day on the mound is done for Post 59. He really battled through 5 innings of work here this evening. He ended up allowing 4 runs on 9 hits. He walked 1 and did not strike out a batter in this game. And certainly by Avery's standards, this would be his worst outing of the season. However, the offense was able to bring him some support. Milford leads the game 8-4, so Avery is in line to get the win here in this first playoff game of the year for Post 59. The new pitcher on now for Milford is David Sampson. Sampson working an inning in relief in that last game of the regular season against Framingham. Overall on the season, this is now Sampson's 5th game in which he has appeared. He carries a 2-0 record. He's pitched 5 innings, he's allowed 7 hits, 2 runs. He's hit a batter, walked 2, and struck out 6. A pitch into Jeremy Nash, the number 9 hitter in the Leominster order, is a called strike. David Sampson looking to bring that hard fastball. This pitch hit on the ground to first base. It is a foul ball. Diving into foul ground for it was Martinez. He was able to keep it in front. But ruled a foul ball, and the count goes to 0-2. David Sampson was the closer on this team a year ago, now serving as almost a setup role. Not something you typically see at the Legion level, but right now, Coach DeVito using that combination of David Sampson followed by Andrew McMillan to close out games. Sampson now with a count of 1-2. The only save chances in the regular season did go to Andrew McMillan. He had 3 saves on the year, as now Nash hits a ground ball right back into the glove of Sampson. He takes it halfway to first base before flipping to Martinez for the first out.
Now batting number 24, Brett Corliss.
So 1 out, the base is empty. Now back up to the top of the order for Leominster and Brett Corliss. A 1-for-3 day at the plate. Doubled and drove in a run back in the 3rd inning. Back at a point where it seemed like this game was heading heavily in Leominster's favor. But the complexion of the game changed very rapidly after that. Went from a 4-0 lead for Leominster to a 5-4 lead for Milford. It is now an 8-4 lead for Post 59. A 1-1 pitch coming into Corliss. It's swung on and missed. Corliss also involved in a collision out in the outfield with Noah Milliard that kept him down on the grass for a few moments, but he's been able to stay in the game. Sampson ready with the 1-2 pitch. Here it is. It's hit foul off to the right. A couple of Milford players out in pursuit of that foul ball. The base is empty with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Here's the pitch. It's tapped foul at home plate. This has been a tough team to strike out here tonight. Dan Avery unable to collect a single strikeout in his 5 innings of work. Now the first 2 batters here in the 6th against Sampson, putting some tough swings on the ball, and now this one is hit up the middle. A diving grab made by Dan Mantoni. The throw to first base on a hop is picked on the back end by Kevin Martinez, and there are 2 outs now in the inning, and Dan Mantoni has come to play defensively in this game here tonight. We have seen a number of exceptional plays from the Milford shortstop. He had to lunge deep to his left to keep that ball from going to the outfield, and then still managed to send an accurate throw to first base to get the out. Dan Mantoni, a 5-year veteran of this Post 59 team. He wants to see this team go deep into the postseason here in its last year of eligibility. 1 ball and 1 strike now, the count to Tanner Jacola. The windup and the pitch from Sampson. It's hit to the left, out of play. The count goes to 1-2. Continues to be a muggy evening here in Milford. David Sampson mopping some sweat off his brow before he delivers this next pitch. This is low. Sampson looks over the glove. Now the high leg kick and the pitch. It's hit on the ground to the left side. McMillan waits for it. He fields and throws for the out. That ends the inning. A 1-2-3 frame for David Sampson. And we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Milford in the lead by a score of 8-4 over Leominster as you listen to coverage of this Zone 4 semifinal game here on WMRC First Class Radio. It's Newhouse on now to pitch this bottom of the 6th inning. Obviously a long playoff road ahead for both of these teams, and they've already now had to use some bullpen arms. Not necessarily something that you expect in a Game 1 situation where both teams have an opportunity to line up their pitching, although Leominster without nearly as much time as Milford to get their pitching in order. But an 8-4 lead for Milford here as they are about to take their swings in the bottom of the 6th. Andrew McMillan leads it off. And the first pitch in from Newhouse just misses off the outside edge for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch now, that one misses inside. And the count goes to 2-0. McMillan so far tonight has reached base all 3 times he has come to the plate. A pair of walks, an RBI single. He's scored 2 runs. So now the count goes to 2-1. The righty Newhouse's next pitch, that grabs the outside edge, and he comes back to even up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Game 2 in this series will come tomorrow evening, weather permitting, up at Pincanavino Field in Leominster with first pitch at 6 p.m. With Game 3, if necessary, coming back here to Fino Field on Thursday. 3-2 now, the count to Andrew McMillan. He sends this pitch out to left field, or left center field. A long run for Corliss. He's not going to be able to get there. It gets over his head, and it's going to be 2 bases for McMillan. That kept slicing away from Corliss, traveling over towards left center field. It seemed as though it was going to be an easy catch at first glance. But Corliss could not catch up to it, and it is a leadoff double for McMillan. Now 2 hits in the game and on base for the 4th time. Puts a man in scoring position instantly for Dan Mantoni. He has an RBI hit to his credit in the game. That came as part of that big 5-run 3rd inning. The first pitch into Mantoni is a called strike 1. We'll see if Coach DeVito chooses to use David Sampson for a 2nd inning of relief once we reach the 7th, or if he will go to the closer, McMillan. as Mantoni rips this pitch down the left field line, but it's just foul. That is the second time tonight Mantoni has been all over a pitch out to left field, but unable to keep them in fair territory. Count goes to 0-2. Mantoni 1 for 3 overall on the night. Here's the pitch. Too far inside. Mantoni has to jackknife out of the way. 1 ball and 2 strikes with McMillan off to a lead at second base. Newhouse notices and looks him back to the bag. Here's the pitch. This is ripped out to left field. This is down for a fair ball. A base hit for Mantoni. Around to score from second base is Andrew McMillan. The second RBI single of the game for Dan Mantoni, and Milford pads the lead as they are now up 9-4. So after going 1-2-3 in the 5th, they come through with 2 straight hits to start off the 6th inning and grab another run. So the second time this season they have scored 9 runs in a game against Leominster. Not done yet. They have Mantoni at first base with nobody out in the inning, and Kevin Martinez at the plate, who has arguably the biggest hit of the game, a 2-run double that tied the score at 4, as this pitch now goes behind Kevin Martinez. No, they'll say it hit him. It looked like he was able to get out of the way. It may have hit his ankle on the way by. But at any rate, Martinez ends up taking first base. It's the second hit by pitch of this game. The other one on the Leominster side, as Milliard was hit by a pitch from Dan Avery back in the 5th. So Martinez now at first base. He's on for the second time. Mantoni pushed into scoring position at second. Joe White now comes to the plate. He digs in on the left side, 1 for 3. Takes a nice cut at the first pitch, but sends it foul off to the left. White was part of back-to-back hitters back in the 4th inning who reached base on strikeouts. 0-1 the count here. The pitch from Newhouse misses outside. Count goes to 1-1. Looks like the American League has taken an early 3-0 lead over the National League in the All-Star game. The 1-1 pitch in there for a called strike 2. It looks like all 3 of those runs were scored in the 1st inning, and that included a 2-run home run by Miguel Cabrera. Also a triple by Mike Trout, so the Stars were out early in the game for the AL. It's a 1-2 count now to Joe White. 2-2 count, excuse me. Newhouse a long look into home plate, now sets and throws. This pitch is hit on the ground up the middle, snagged by Newhouse. He looks to second and third, but chooses to throw on to first to get the shore out there. Joe White retired 1-3, but Mantoni able to move up to third, and Martinez up to second. Puts 2 men in scoring position now with 1 out for Michael Ryan. He's looking for his first hit in the game. Michael Ryan, one of just 2 members of the original starting lineup for Post 59 to not yet have a hit in this game. Mike Caffarella the other, but he is no longer in the lineup. He's replaced in his last at-bat by Scott DeCapua out of the DH spot. DeCapua remains in that spot for now. It's a 2-0 count here to Ryan, who has popped out. He reached on a fielder's choice, which drove in a run, and struck out but reached base on that strikeout in his last at bat in the 4th inning. Here's the 2-0 pitch. It's in there for a called strike. Michael Ryan did not like the call. Took a few steps away from home plate, showing some frustration. Now digs back into the box. As the runners lead off of 2nd and 3rd, here is the 2-1 offering. It's low and inside. 3-1 now the count. The pace in this game has slowed down with Newhouse out there on the mound. It's been very deliberate in between throws. He sets high around the eye level, now comes to the plate. This pitch is hit on the ground. It will make its way through the right side of the infield for a base hit. That will score Dan Mantoni. They stop Martinez at 3rd. So there is the first hit of the night for Michael Ryan. It's his 2nd RBI of the game, and it pushes the run total up to double digits for Post 59. They now lead 10-4. They've plated 2 runs so far in this bottom of the 6th inning. They have runners at the corners now with 1 down, and Cam Cosette at the plate. Cam singled back in the 2nd inning. He's also popped out and grounded out. First pitch for Newhouse is hit on the ground, back up the middle, fielded by the pitcher Newhouse. He throws to 2nd for the out there, on to 1st for the double play. 1-6-3, they're able to turn it. Newhouse gets it started with a nice play on the mound, so that will end things here in the bottom of the 6th inning. But 2 more runs add to the insurance for Milford. They take a 10-4 lead into the top of the 7th inning, and it will be David Sampson who comes back on to try to close things out. We will see that top of the 7th inning unfold right after this here on WMRC First Class Radio. With 10 runs on 11 hits in the game, they lead Leominster by a score of 10-4. And just 3 outs to go for Milford to take a 1-game-to-none advantage in this series. Sampson's first pitch into Ryan Lever, the starting shortstop for Post 151, and it's a swinging strike 1. Sampson ready with another. This time it misses just a bit off the outside corner. Count evens. Lever has had a good night at the plate. 2 singles and a sacrifice fly. Sends a pitch foul up over the backstop, and the count goes to 1-2. We will recap this game and all of the week's playoff action for Post 59 on the Milford Informer on Milford TV coming up this Friday at 7:30. That show is hosted by yours truly. So if you want to get caught up on all of the Milford playoff action as well as all of the playoff action around Zone 4, you will want to tune in to the Milford Informer on Milford TV on Friday at 7:30 p.m. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count now to Ryan Lever. As it looks like some of the visiting crowd is starting to head towards the exit. Lever pops this ball up out into shallow left field. It's Dan Mantoni who backpedals out there to make the catch. And the first man is retired here in the top of the 7th. It was definitely our biggest crowd of the season here at Pheno Field tonight to take in this first playoff action of the year for Milford. Post 59 coming off of that 2013 intrastate title last year. Fans seeing a lot of playoff success a year ago, hoping for the same thing this time around is now Ricky Christian up there with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. He took a big cut at that last pitch from Sampson. The 1-1 pitch in from Sampson is hit on the ground to the right side, fielded by White. The underhand toss to first base is good for out number 2. 2 up and 2 down, and it comes down to the Leominster DH Brennan Cudahy. Cudahy is 1 for 2 in the game. He has singled and walked. He was also part of that unusual double play started by Dan Mantoni back in the 5th inning. He swings at the first pitch and grounds it foul over towards the home dugout along the first base line. Sampson back on the pitching rubber, stares over the glove for the sign. Now brings his 0-1 pitch. It's in for a called strike 2 at the knees. Cudahy did not like it one bit. But Leominster down to their final strike. Sampson takes a few steps off the back of the pitcher's mound, now climbs back up on top. He has the pitch he wants into his windup. Here is the 0-2 pitch, and it's too far inside. Milford leading 10-4, one strike away from ending this game. Sampson again into the windup. Here is the pitch, and it's chopped foul at home plate. Cudahy not making things easy on David Sampson here to finish out the game. Everyone standing outside of both dugouts watching the final pitches of this game unfold. Here comes another 0-2 offering. This is a line drive to third base. The catch is made there by Andrew McMillan, and the ball game is over. It was a wild one here at Pheno Field here tonight. Plenty of offense on both sides, but in the end, Milford rallies to win game 1 of this semifinal series by a final score of 10-4. So they will take that 1-0 lead into Pincanavino Field in Leominster for tomorrow evening's game.
Again, tomorrow night at Leominster at 6 p.m. Thursday night, right here at Pheno Field, if necessary, at 7.